The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, more clouds and sun with a couple of thunderstorms around. The high 85 to 87. Partly cloudy tonight with a shower or thunderstorm in places near the coast during the evening hours. The low 69 to 71. For tomorrow, periods of clouds and sun with a shower or thunderstorm around from late morning on. The high 84 to 88. Then on Friday, partly sunny with a high of 88 to 92. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA. Ocala!
All right, 6 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. I have a little bit of an advantage over you because whenever we have a guest, I'm prepared by somebody else, sometimes that other person is Robin, with information that'll help me to at least speak somewhat knowledgeably about a topic. And I am only telling you that so that you know that I really know nothing about this next topic except for what was provided to me in order to prepare for the interview. Dwight K. is the guy to go to for the details about this subject. Dwight is on the phone. He's the founder and CEO of K Properties and Investments. He's talking about, listen, now here's the part. Now, if you've known about this already, then good for you. You're way ahead of me. The U.S. Congress is considering getting rid of Section 1031 of the Internal Revenue Code. Now, if you know what that means, then you're ahead of me. Here's what my notes say that it means, and we'll let Dwight take it from here. It means that Section 1031 of the Internal Revenue Code lets taxpayers defer their capital gains tax on the sale of property if they reinvest their proceeds in like-kind property. So right there, that sounds, that's not a bad thing. We should be able to do that, right? But if they're proposing to get rid of it, that's not such a good thing.
Yeah.
That's the only way I have any opinion is because I was prepared for this by something else. Otherwise, this would have been one of those things under the radar. Dwight K., good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
I'm okay. Where are you calling from, first of all?
I'm calling from Palos Verdes, which is in California, and it's Los Angeles, the South Bay of Los Angeles.
Okay. Well, thank you for getting up early to do this with us.
Absolutely. You know, we had another interview at 5 a.m., so this is actually pretty late for us.
Oh, good. Well, you know what? One of the things I can tell you about talk radio listeners is they're very good watchdogs.
Sure.
And so they like to hear stuff like this because if they hadn't heard about it already, they need to have some fuel, enough information so they can call their congressmen and women, et cetera. So educate us about this.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, the 1031 exchange is a way to defer taxes on the sale of real estate. And so, you know, this has been in our tax code since 1921. And, you know, it was starting with farmers. I'll trade you my bean field for your cornfield. And the IRS said, okay, well, we need to get our capital gains tax. They said, wait a second. You know, we shouldn't have to pay the capital gains taxes because it's a like for like. It's a field for another field.
There's no gain.
There's no gain, exactly. And so that's when this code was enacted, and it's really helped build the fabric of, you know, investment and rental and commercial real estate throughout America, you know, for the last almost 100 years. So what's happening now is Congress has the 1031 exchange in their crosshairs again, and they're looking for a way to generate more tax revenue. And we think, in our opinion, this is going to be disastrous for the real estate market and the economy in general if they do that. So we're kind of in an unprecedented time where it potentially could happen. It's kind of a scary thing for the economy.
So I guess I don't understand. How would they calculate a gain if there's no gain? If it's a like kind?
Well, sure. So let me give a quick example. So say you bought a apartment, a duplex back in 1972 in Miami for $100,000. Okay. From there, fast forward to 2015, the property is actually worth $1.1 million. Okay. You've had a lot of appreciation. If you go to sell that without doing a 1031 exchange, the Uncle Sam and, you know, through capital gains taxes and depreciation recapture tax, as well as the Medicare surtax, you're looking at, you know, $1 million gain that you're going to pay upwards potentially of 30 to 35, even 40%, depending on where you live, in capital gains taxes. With the 1031, instead of writing a check for $400,000, right, to Uncle Sam, you're able to keep that full $1.1 million working for you and reinvest it into other like-kind real estate, okay? What they're trying to do is say, no, you can't do that anymore.
Oh,
it's been
wow.
around the 20s. And what that's going to do is create less of a demand for real estate. And that's going to mean, lower demand is lower prices. And we're going to see the markets, suffer. We estimate, in our opinion, that about 1/3 of investment real estate transactions are 1031 exchange transactions.
Okay, so somebody who invests in real estate would be looking elsewhere. I don't know what other country they would go to, but they would look somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly, or to other types of more liquid investments in real estate.
Yeah.
So that could really affect the housing market because there's a lot of rental properties that people use and do 1031 exchanges with. Also, Ernst & Young, they were commissioned to provide an analysis of what the impact would be if Congress did that. And they're estimating that GDP would fall by approximately $8.1 billion per year if the 1031 exchange was abolished. And so that far outweighs any increased tax revenues that Congress would get, number one. Number two, we'd see the real estate market suffer. And number three, we'd have a lot of job losses. Think of all the residential and commercial agents, title companies, escrow officers, lenders, qualified intermediaries, investment companies, developers that would be out of jobs.
Yeah, really.
And then on top of that, it's not just the real estate industry. The 1031 exchange is used by many, many different industries, including, the construction industries, equipment rental industries, farmland, the aircraft industry. So, it could really be a big problem if this were to happen.
Okay, and what our legislators in Congress see is just a bigger bottom line, and as a way to, I guess, bolster the tax collections.
Exactly, and it's just very short-sighted, and people need to know about this. People need to know that this very integral part of the tax code is on a chopping block, and it's come up for review, and they've talked about abolishing it before, but it's really, and from what we've seen, it hasn't ever gotten this far. And just at the end of the day, you look back to the 1986 Tax Reform Act. When that happened, we had a massive crash in the real estate markets because real estate that previously was economically viable was no longer so. Okay, and that's when the RTC Resolution Trust Corp had to be come into existence, and we had a massive real estate recession. So last time they tinkered with tax law relating to investment real estate, we had a big problem. And now they're talking about it again, and hopefully it doesn't happen, but people need to know.
And this would also deter foreign companies from bringing their factories and their workers over here if this was passed.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the 1031 exchange, it has to be, domestic, okay? So a foreign company over here could potentially utilize a 1031 exchange. But, yeah, I mean, you're not going to be exchanging from, overseas into the States or in the States to overseas. And, the 1031 exchange is a complex tax code. So, of course, anybody that's considering doing one or interested in learning more, you really should speak with your CPA and attorney to get their advice and guidance on it. But, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this could be have far-reaching effects on our economy.
Well, one of the things I think is our responsibility as radio broadcasters is to get the information out, but we are limited with time and therefore information. So that's why I love the way that the internet can work in conjunction with what we do on radio, because we're going to end like in a minute or so, and I'm sure that our listeners still have more questions. So do you have a website?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got more information on the 1031 exchange. It's kind of what's going on our website. First off, the company, again, is K Properties and Investments, okay? And we're licensed in all 50 states. We help investors in 1031 exchanges throughout the country. So the website is www.kpi1031.com. Okay. So www.kpi1031.com.
Okay. And actually, Robin, for the listeners, if you don't want to, if you can't write it down, you're driving or whatever, Robin has already put that website on the guest list for today. So if you go to WOCA.com, check out the guest list for AM Ocala Live, and you'll see it at the 11:05 slot. Plus, we'll put it on Facebook as well. Dwight, thank you for giving us this information. I know that this is important, and I had no idea. It's one of those things.
Absolutely.
It just requires sometimes somebody like yourself getting up and shouting, even if it does require you to get up at 5 a.m. and talk to radio geeks.
Absolutely. Well, we're here to help our clients, and the 1031 exchange is, something that a lot of investors are considering right now. And if it gets, the rug gets pulled out from under their feet, then it's going to have some far-reaching effects. So we definitely want people to know. So check out our website, learn more, and thanks for having me, you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dwight. Thank you so much. All right, we'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, more clouds and sun with a couple of thunderstorms around. The high 85 to 87. Partly cloudy tonight with a shower or thunderstorm in places near the coast during the evening hours. The low 69 to 71. For tomorrow, periods of clouds and sun with a shower or thunderstorm around from late morning on. The high 84 to 88.